I grew up loving Roald Dahl. He was really the great writer of my childhood. And the first thing I read of his was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I had this old paperback and I read it and I read it and I read it. And I must have read it dozens of times because I remember the pages all came out of the book.
We all knew those stories. I remember the illustrations. There's something about the worlds that he creates and the way that he writes, just absolutely visual.
To take on a character as iconic as this one, that's revered in culture like this, it's outside the bounds of Roald Dahl's original material, that was a great guiding light.
It's a fabulous world for a fabulous story, full of colourful buildings and looming spires and golden domes, all sprinkled with a dusting of fairy tale snow.
We've been incredibly fortunate to partner with amazingly talented artists working behind the camera. Nathan Crowley is our production designer, and he's created a vibrant and vital world, from chocolate shops to wash houses to building an entire town centre and galleria.
Not only Nathan, but Lee Samuels, who's our set decorator, and their whole teams together really made this rich world.
Nathan called me about Wonka, and the timing was perfect, so it aligned.
It was really good to work with someone like Lee. We're working from different ends and we're coming to the middle. So that was great. I felt like it was a really strong team because of it.
The city we've created for the movie is a sort of wonderful fairy tale city somewhere in the middle of Europe.
There's something very specific and very general about it at exactly the same time. It's almost all of Europe in one city.
The town itself, it's kind of like the greatest hits of Europe. It's like the best of. It takes influences from English, French, German, and Swiss architecture. But we wanted it to feel as though you couldn't quite place it within one particular country.
It's been a real journey to find a town square. At one point we were going to film in Europe, thinking, well, we could actually go to a real square, and it's more difficult because you've got dance numbers and you have to control areas for long periods of time. So it worked out well that we got to build a big back lot because we got to make it ours.
As we got further into production, and because it's a musical and the set had to be used by a lot of dancers, the set got bigger and bigger and bigger to accommodate the action.
This one is one of the most amazing, beautiful worlds you can imagine. Sometimes when I feel a little bit low, I just go for a walk round. Everything is like 360. You can walk into it, you can have a stroll about. It's phenomenal, the job that's been done.
There's something really awesome about walking into the town square and just the sheer scale on display and the artistry on display, the detail. It's the sort of thing only a major studio picture could really create.
This has to be the best chocolate in the world.
Oh, don't know about that. They say that the very best comes from a place called the Gallery Gourmet.
And we have this extraordinary shopping galleria, a sort of cathedral to food and the fine things in life called the Gallery Gourmet. It's very grand and it's very opulent. It's just where the greatest of the great go.
The Gallery Gourmet, which is where the three greatest chocolatiers on the planet live and do their work. That allowed Paul and Nathan Crowley to make the world exactly like the best bits of all that research. And it's a huge build. It's an absolutely massive undertaking.
So to have the opportunity to build an interior under a tent that goes into the backlot for a major scene, it's Willie coming into the town square, moving into the Galleria, and this is his dream. And so to get to continue that in one flow I just loved it.
Now, as you step through the gates of the Palais, we wanted the audience to feel as though they were entering this amazing arcade of the highest forms of food.
And there's this brilliant building in Milan, which is sort of the home of fashion. And there's these sort of four big fashion brands all sort of facing each other from these corner shops. And it felt like a really fun sort of playground for our characters, that it all looks extremely opulent and nice.
The detail in the shop windows and in the cafes. Every single one is perfect. It was like you almost melted with the sort of beauty of it all.
Here we are, Mr. Wonka, home sweet home.
So the glory of the town is here, and you cross a bridge, and you end up at Scrub It and Bleachers.
Come on in, sir. Welcome to Scrub It and Bleachers.
The laundry was actually the first set I actually started with on the film. I was intrigued by the song, Scrub Scrub, and it was so easy for me to pick up just on the lyrics of the song and the beat of the song. I almost instantly had that set in my head from just reading the script just once. And then from that, we were able to create the process through the set design. So we knew that the vats had to be here, we knew that the mangles had to be there. One of the lines is like, turn the big handle on the mangle. So I knew I had to find the biggest mangle which I could in order to turn the handle.
We've all been utterly blown away. And there's tons of just bits of paper that no one will ever see, but they're all absolutely accurate. They've all got laundry written on them and amounts and stuff.
Every single thing has a purpose and an intention, which just makes the set come alive for us as actors.
I love the laundry. I mean, the laundry is steamy, gothic. There's a feeling of that sort of slimy, steamy, sort of mechanical people trapped on a sort of working away element to it, and then Willy Wonka enters and sprinkles magic around.
Scrub, scrub.
For my character, he walks into St. Paul's Cathedral and he has to pay off a priest, and then the confessional is actually an elevator that goes into a vault that opens up, that is a chocolate factory underneath the cathedral. It's not just whimsical, it's like cleverly whimsical.
Nathan actually designed this most incredible set. It's so clever.
We go through the vault door and there's the inner tank that they've built in there, and around that tank is their men's club.
The set dressing there is quite subtle. We found these camelback sofas, but if you look at the details of them, the leather on them is actually almost like a dark chocolate colour, and they slightly ripple, almost a bit like chocolate, the same as the wingback chairs.
And they have a bar, and they have chocolate machines. So there's a grandeur to it.
The chandelier are these 1930s Art Deco inspired that looked like giant jellies. I had to have a feeling of a gentleman's club / evil lair.
My favorite set, I'd say, is the Wonka chocolate shop. I love it. It's like when you walk in, it's just like, whoa. It's just like a big, bright sun. So it's crazy. You see all the flowers and river.
He's really made it as a tribute to his mother, so he's recreated his childhood home in chocolate. There are these extraordinary flowers and bees and creations, and it's something far more tranquil and natural that you might expect from a crazy inventor, I suppose.
When I first read the script, I was really overwhelmed by the sentiment that Paul wrote in the few lines which actually describes the interior of the shop. And one of them was that it was an enchanted garden.
So his chocolate shop was never going to be about presentation. It was going to be romantic, it was going to be full of colour, it was going to be fun, it was going to be imagination. The chocolate tree, which is the centrepiece of the shop, it was like, well, why don't we spin the tree? So we put a Turkish Delight road so you can step into this twirling cherry blossom.
We did a huge amount of R&D, finding artificial flowers and greenery, sculpting, test painting, sugar coating, glazing, chocolate dipping, to find the exact right processes in order to make something look edible. It has a magical quality to it. It's exactly what I think if I was a kid and I was watching this movie, that's how I'd imagine what Woolly Shop would look like.
The Wonka chocolate shop, seeing that was a moment where my heart went into my throat. I felt hugely grateful to the universe to get to be playing this role and to get to be part of this story. It was just humbling to the idea of what it was like on the Gene Wilder one, you know, where things look so delicious, and when you're there, you take a bite of something, you break your tooth. David Heyman set up with the studio that I could go hang out there in the shop alone, and they lit it, which was generous, and I got to just hang out there for 4 hours and go over the choreography. And the shop is extraordinary.
Enjoy. And don't forget to eat your basket.
I haven't been in many movies of this scale before, so every day is a jaw dropper for me.
To walk into something that is so thoughtful and carefully drawn, it really elevates, I think, everyone involved.
You just come and play every day. It's never going to be exactly what's on the page, which is actually really exciting.
It's been an absolute joy to make this fantasy world.